making that the the progressives in Congress have pivoted in response to those events to calling for being some of the loudest voices calling for new censorship. I mean, you have AOC.
Great leeway to this because.
Yeah, you have AOC literally saying that we need the government to rein in the media to prevent any more misinformation or disinformation. Like, I mean, and listening to some of the things she's saying too, where she said, you either condemn what happened on the 6th and will fight against what caused it, or you're part of that mob. It's the same sort of rhetoric that you heard from Bush and Cheney.
Yeah, you're either with us or against us, right?
Yeah. It all feels. It really all feels a little surreal, I guess. That feels like a really
I feel funky. Like something doesn't feel right. Like exactly what you're saying is like the progressives are the voice of the people, or they were supposed to be, and they're now advocating for a big tech company, something that they have, I mean, vowed to hate. I mean, they don't like big corporate companies, allegedly. Again, it's like these progressives that we voted into office are now touting and praising these things Twitter and Facebook are doing. And or at least, I'm sorry, that I shouldn't say that without actual proof. Did AOC actually support Twitter? And
absolutely. AOC was actually calling out those companies on Twitter over Parler and saying, what are you going to do to stop domestic terrorists from organizing on this platform? Like, how can you, like, what are you going to do to stop this platform from existing, or not from existing, but what are you going to do to censure them for allowing white supremacists or domestic terrorists or whatever the fuck she called them on their platform? She was actively goading Google, Amazon, and Apple to remove Parler from their platforms.
So she's praising big, the phrase is big tech, but it's any big company. She's now in cahoots with them, if you will. Like she is now saying, okay, screw my people. I'm going to start, praising big corporate companies who are, to progressives, historically the enemy. Big companies big corporations have always been the enemy of the people. And the progressives, the party of the people, allegedly, are now cheering them on, the big corporations. So that's just mind blowing. And you're absolutely right. And that's, it's disheartening to say the least, and
I think it's so fucking funny too the way that they're saying, well, we need to do this to fight fascism. I'm like, you have such an amazingly limited idea of what fascism is. Like,
your fascism is any Trump supporter is who they consider fascist, and it's like you're barking up the wrong tree. And like whether it's can't tell if it's knowingly or unknowingly. And they're so smart though. They have to. This has to be all just a game. They're way too smart to realize that that's not the truth. What these people that were at the Capitol are in no way. Some of them could be fascists or white supremacists, but in no way are all of them. And I think that's such.
I think in the minds of most liberals, most liberals and most, there are people. I'm really starting to see a distinction between liberals and the left, and I think liberals and liberal-leaning leftists basically think anyone who supports Trump is a fascist or a white supremacist or whatever. which I'm okay with as long as you say the same thing about anyone who supports Biden.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, Biden's been, obviously, we've been over this so many times, but a 50-year regime
Yeah.
of racism and warmongering and all that stuff. So that is fascism. I mean, it really is. The policies that he's pushed for 50 years are fascist, and there's no other way to describe it.